Towards the end of 2016, I was searching for a new cooking kit. I'd had a few issues with my previous one, and I was looking for a different setup. My research led me to this, one of these. It's called a Kelly kettle. Now, I've never heard or seen of one of these before, so I was quite intrigued to give it a go and give it a good field test and see if it could actually do everything that I was hoping it would do. The Kelly kettle comes in 3 sizes and also supports a number of accessories and add-ons that you can purchase to complete the kit and expand on the functionality of the setup. These include things like a separate stove frame, cups and pots, a pot support that fits inside the spout of the kettle. I'll put on screen all the links to the website and I'll also leave the links in the video description below too. The one I've got here is called the Trekker, and it's the smallest of the 3 available. It costs just under $120. It's made from stainless steel and comes with a carry bag and a fire base. It's 27 centimeters in height when it's packed up and 14 centimeters in diameter. Weighs 0.74 kilograms. The Trekker just holds over half a litre of water. The 2 main features that attracted me to the Kelly kettle, number 1, the design and how you use it to cook food and water, and number 2, the fact that you don't actually need to carry any fuel with you. As long as you're going into an environment where you can find fuel and you can use that to burn and to cook with, then you can use the Kelly kettle. So let's take a look at the design. The design of the kettle is really clever, and I think it's such a great idea. It basically acts like a mini chimney. There's a double layer of stainless steel, which means that there's a hole running through the middle of the kettle from top to bottom. You pour the water into this hole here, and the water sits in between the layers. The fire sits at the bottom of the kettle here, and it means that when the fire gets going, the heat and the smoke come up through the chimney here, and it comes out the top. And that means that you're generating a lot of heat across a large surface area inside the chimney. Essentially touching more of the water, so the water gets to boil quicker. The chimney effect also means that the heat is directed out of the top here. You have a tremendous amount of heat and cooking power focused right at the top, which means you have the ability to put something on the top and to cook from it. And if you need to add more fuel, you just add it into the top of the chimney, it falls to the bottom and continues cooking with the rest of the fire. Now, I've been using the Kelly kettle for a number of months now, and I am truly blown away by the efficiency and speed with which this thing can cook not only food on the top but also the water in between the 2 stainless steel layers. There are a few things that you need to be mindful of in the setup. So it's a boiling hot day today. I definitely don't need like a coffee or some hot food or anything like that, but we're going to go through the motions. I'm going to cook some water and some food now, show you my best practice setup. Okay, first thing, you need to have everything prepared in advance before you start the stove. I can't stress this one highly enough because the kettle is just so efficient. You can find yourself caught out on scrambling to keep up with it. So I've got everything ready and prepared here, good to go. Starting with my kettle and the pot stand at the top. I've got the fire base unit on the bottom as well. My water's there, good to go. I've got the hobo kit set up as well, and I've got the pot holder device as well. Over here I've got a cup and base for cooking with and for drinking water from. I've got my food ready, and that's just the bag that the Kelly kettle comes in as well. Everything's ready. I can start to get some firewood and get prepared to get the fire going. Okay, you pour the water into this hole here, and then it sits in between the 2 stainless steel layers. Whatever you do, don't put the cork, the stopper, in when you're cooking. The pressure will build up and explode, and you'll have a pretty serious situation on your hands. Prepare your kindling and fuel ready in the fire base, and make sure you have extra fuel prepared at the right size in case you need it. It makes sense to ensure that any fuel is not too big for the base, or else you'll find it difficult to put the kettle or other accessories onto the base. Next, I get any food or drink ready so it can be added to the top of the kettle straight away, and the boiled water can be poured into your cups. Now you're ready to get the fire going. if you start the fire with the kettle off the base, you need to be careful about how you put the kettle on. As soon as you put the kettle over the flame, it will start to direct the heat up through the chimney, and it will burn your hands if you're holding the kettle like this. So what you need to do is tilt the kettle like this using a handle, and using two handles holding the kettle out at about a 45-degree angle and lifting it and then putting it onto the flames like this. You can see there, you might be able to see, yeah, the flames coming out the top there. It directs it really, really quickly, and there's a huge amount of heat which is generated straight away, so you have to be very, very careful. You can see here that I've put the food on almost straight away after the fire got going, because it is so quick about the amount of heat that is generated and brought up to the top here. Get your food in the go, and if you need to top up with some more fuel, then move this off, drop some sticks down, and then put it back on. I've mentioned a few times in this video about the efficiency of the Kelly kettle. It's only been about 15-20 seconds, and you can see that my beans are already starting to bubble there. The water's still got a little bit to go in here, but you can start to hear it really getting hot. It's a fantastically efficient system to use. I've just taken the food off the top because I wanted to show you that there's hardly any smoke coming out of the top. There's a little bit, but it's a really clean way to cook. And literally, as I've been setting up the camera, just to tell you this, I don't know if you can see it now or not, but the water is bubbling and boiling away. It's only literally been a minute and a half, maybe just under 2 minutes, and my food is cooked from the heat in the top, and the water is bubbling away as well. So now we've got to transfer the water from the kettle into my cup, and there's a special way to do that as well. Okay, the water's boiling. I'm going to transfer it into my cup here for some coffee. Now, if I lift off this with my hands, the pot holder, I'm going to burn my hands really badly. So this is what your little pot clasping device is for. If I lift up this handle here and put my hand over the top here, there's still a huge amount of heat being generated. I'm going to burn my hand on the top. So again, I'll just put this to the side here. You lift off with two hands at a 90-degree handle with the handle, sorry. And then using the chain that holds the stopper, you pour like this. You tilt the kettle and you pour like this. Perfect. If you have enough water and you need to continue cooking, then I recommend removing the kettle completely from the base and putting the hobo stove onto the base. Then your pot or pan onto this to keep cooking. There's a small grill that you can get that fits into the base unit, but I would recommend the hobo stove accessory as it's a bit easier to manage and less fiddly. Put your food back on and continue to cook, and add more fuel if necessary. Whatever you do, don't put the kettle back on the heat without any water in it, as you'll ruin the kettle. The kettle needs water in it when it's on the heat. If you need more water boiling, then it's a simple case of adding more water to the kettle, back onto the base unit, and adding more fuel. I wouldn't recommend leaving the hobo stove on if you do this, as it will just get in the way if you're dropping fuel down the chimney. Plus, there's no point in overheating the item if you're not really using it. Once I'm done, I usually leave the fire in the base unit to burn out. I'll put any leftover water in to douse the fuel. As with any fire in the bush, make sure it's completely out. So there you have it, the Kelly kettle. A fantastic piece of kit. Like I said, I've been using it for a number of months now, and it's definitely grown on me every single time I've gone out and used it. When it first arrived in the post, I thought, wow, it's big. And when you compare it to the likes of the Pathfinder kit, you know, there is quite a bit of difference in terms of size and the dimensions and things. That may put some people off, because you are going to need a little bit more space in your pack to fit this in and things. I appreciate that pack size and weight are important to a number of people who are out hiking and camping at the moment. Where this kettle grew on me though, and really stands out from the crowd, is just the sheer simplicity and genius of how it cooks both the water in the double layer, but also the food on top. It is such a clean and efficient and effective design that really stood out for me, and I couldn't find anything else on the market that worked the way that this worked, and with the design of the chimney effect as well. When I first used the Kelly kettle, I was taken aback by how quick it boiled the water. I basically wasn't ready. I was pottering around the campsite and heard the water boiling, and I didn't have anything ready. That's probably one the main strength in this kit. The second thing that I like about it is the fact that you don't really have to carry any fuel with you. As long as, like I said earlier, you can go into an environment where there's fuel, you can get this baby going. Now, I know that you can create a fire by other means. Put your kit in the embers or set up a hanging system over the fire to cook with. All that's fine, and I'm not disregarding it, but I think where the Kelly kettle differs is that the fire that you need to cook the water and your food and things is very small, and it also maximizes the efficiency with the chimney design. You're heating from the base as well as heating up the inside walls, and the ability to use the top of the chimney to cook as well is something that I just think is it's a genius design. It's really clever. The Kelly kettle's strong. It's got really good solid pieces to it. It's tough. It feels robust enough to withstand taking a good beating when you're out. I like the way that the design means all the other items can fit inside the main unit, and it's also has very minimal moving parts or parts that could in theory break. So it's a really simple setup. It just works, and it just does what it's supposed to do, and it does it really well. There's two things that I need to highlight that could be cons to the kit. The size, as I've mentioned, it's not as small as other items that are on the market, and also the fact that you can only cook a small amount of water. Considering the size of it, you really cook a small amount of water. This one, like I said, the Trekker cooks around half a litre of water in one go. Now, personally for me, I'd only be using the Trekker on a solo hike or hike with one friend or my partner. So the amount of water for me personally isn't a big issue, but it is something that I know may frustrate others as well. Okay, so my final rating for the Kelly kettle Trekker size. For me, the only drawback I can find on it is the size. It's bigger than other kits on the market, and it's also bigger than my existing kit as well. So you do have to consider the weight size versus efficiency ratio for your trip. I'm really pleased that I came across a Kelly kettle, and I was given the opportunity to get one and spend a good few months in the bush testing it and giving it a good run for its money. It's strong, it's durable, it's really efficient, and it will cook your food and your water in a matter of minutes. If you're after efficiency and quality of design over size, then this is the piece of kit that you need to get. Based on the only drawback of the size of it versus other products on the market, I'm going to give the Kelly kettle a 9 out of 10. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions or any feedback, and thanks for watching.